Hi, I'm Luke Hill from Hackett Estates, and if you're watching this video, you're likely not panicking, but you are planning. Because here's what I've noticed. The Americans who reach out to us aren't running from a crisis. They're thinking 3 steps ahead. They're asking, what does real geographic diversification actually look like? And how do I put it into place before I need it? Today, we're talking about Plan B, not as a doomsday hedge, but as a strategic wealth management. Specifically, what high net worth individuals from America should know about establishing residency in Spain before the 2026 political cycle begins. Let's be direct about timing. We're heading into another election cycle, and regardless of who wins, half the country will be dissatisfied. Policies will shift, taxes may change, regulations will evolve. But here's what's different this time. More Americans, particularly those with significant wealth, are thinking about optionality before they need it, not after. And recent geopolitical events have accelerated this thinking. The conflict in the Middle East, the situation in Venezuela, rising instability across Latin America. Families who choose Costa Rica or Mexico 5 years ago are now reconsidering what geographic diversification actually means. Right now, you can explore Spanish residency calmly. You can structure things properly with experienced advisors. You can visit, research, and make decisions without pressure. But wait until after November 2026. You'll be competing with everyone else who suddenly decides they need a plan B. Processing times will stretch, costs will rise, and your options will narrow. The families we work with aren't reacting, they're positioning. So why Spain? And specifically, why not the usual alternatives? Portugal's appeal has faded. Prices in Lisbon and the Algarve have skyrocketed, driven by the very expat demand that made it attractive in the first place. The tax incentives that drew people there, largely gone. And petty crime is rising in tourist areas. Latin America carries proximity risk. We've seen this play out in real time. Political instability doesn't respect borders. Venezuela's crisis has ripple effects across the region. If you're seeking stability, being in the Western Hemisphere doesn't automatically insulate you from regional volatility. And finally, Dubai and the security of the Gulf states is under threat. The tax advantages are minimized by safety concerns. Spain, on the other hand, offers something fundamentally different: stability and European Union membership. That means established rule of law, NATO membership, Article 5 collective defence, access to 27 countries for travel, business and education. A legal system that protects property rights, healthcare infrastructure that actually works, political stability backed by centuries of old institutions. And Soto Grande specifically, you're in one of Europe's most exclusive private communities, gated, secure, internationally minded, yet only 7 hours from New York. For American families thinking about true geographic diversification, Spain isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a strategic option on a different continent with separate economic and security infrastructure. Now, let's talk about what high net worth individuals and families actually need to consider. Estate planning becomes more complex, but also more flexible when you add international residency. Here's what matters. US-Spain tax treaty, designed to prevent double taxation on income, pensions, capital gains, and estates. With proper planning, you can structure assets to minimize tax in both jurisdictions. Spanish inheritance tax varies by the region, but Andalusia, where Soto Grande is located, offers significant exemptions for direct heirs. Spouses and children typically pay minimal tax on inheritances, up to $1 million per beneficiary. US estate tax. This still applies to US citizens regardless of where you live, but cross-border planning can use trusts, gifting strategies and treaty provisions to reduce exposure. Property ownership structures. How you hold Spanish property matters enormously. Personal ownership, Spanish company, US LLC, each has different tax implications in both countries. This isn't DIY territory. You need advisors fluent in both systems. The key insight here: adding Spanish residency and property doesn't complicate your estate. It creates options. Options for where assets are held, where heirs inherit, where taxes are paid, and in uncertain times, optionality is valuable. But, and this is critical, you need the right team. Not just a US estate planner, not just a Spanish lawyer. You need cross-border specialists who understand both systems and can coordinate strategy. We work with a network of independent advisors who do exactly this. We don't provide legal or tax advice ourselves. That would be a conflict of interests, but we connect you with the right people. Here's what establishing Spanish residency actually looks like. Timeline, roughly 9 to 18 months from decision to settled, depending on the visa pathway. What are your visa options? You have non-lucrative, which is normally passive income, digital nomad, remote work, or entrepreneur starting a business. The types of investment required varies by visa. Non-lucrative requires proof of income of around $2,800 per month per person. Digital nomad is pretty similar. There is no minimum property purchase required for these visas. So what do you actually get? You get legal residency in Spain and Schengen zone access, path to permanent residency after 5 years and citizenship after 10 years. You get access to Spanish healthcare, ability to spend unlimited time in the EU, educational opportunities for children, which is world-class international schools here in Spain. And what do you get to keep? You get to keep your US citizenship. Spain allows dual citizenship with Americans after 10 years. US assets and business interests, Social Security and Medicare eligibility. For Medicare, you'd return to US for care. This isn't about renouncing anything. It's about adding a layer of security and flexibility to your family's global position. Look, most of you watching this won't need your plan B. I hope you don't. But the families who establish Spanish residency now aren't pessimists. They're pragmatists. They're thinking, if things go south, I want options already in place, not scrambling to create them under pressure. And if you ever need it, you've got a beautiful home in southern Spain. EU residency and access to a lifestyle most Americans don't know exist. If this resonates with you, let's have a confidential conversation. Book a relocation consultation. We'll discuss your specific situation, family structure, income sources, timeline concerns, and map out what Spanish residency could look like for you. No pressure, no pitch, just honest guidance from people who have helped hundreds of Americans and families navigate this exact decision. And download our comprehensive guide, The American's Guide to Relocating to Spain. Everything you need to know about visas, taxes, schools, healthcare, and property. The link is in the description. Your plan B starts with a conversation. Let's have it. Thanks for watching.